Welcome to Chess Midgame Lesson 5. We will be covering the new reading for midgame lessons, The Middle Game in Chess by E. Znasko-Borovsky, located on the live page at autumnleesnews.com or autumnlee.online. I'll give you tonight's homework at that time. We will be defining what the middle game is considered and how many moves are typical in a strong middle game. We will be covering Lichess mid-game tactic puzzles and other learning tools there for middle game. We will be going over a test covering chess openings and your understanding of them. This test is part of another free chess course I would recommend if you're new. I will be playing a live game or two on chess.com. For the next two chess lessons, I will be using information from this book, which can be found on the live page by visiting autumnleesnews.com or autumnlee.online. Tonight's homework will be to read Chapter 2, Maneuvers, pictured above. Borowski uses the old notation like Lasker, so keep that in mind as you read. So these are Lasker's rules for chess. I'm just going to leave these up for about 10 more seconds. And I'm going to move on. Okay, so according to chess.com, the middle game is after the king is safe and most pieces have been developed, attacking the center of the board. When an opposing pawn has crossed over the center of the board, this can also be defined as middle game. Basically, middle game is following the opening, after the king is safe and castled, both sides have fully developed their back rank pieces, and a pawn has crossed the center line of the board. Those are all good indicators of the transition from the opening to the middle game in chess. So we will be going over this following the presentation live. To show off your chess openings knowledge, take this test. The link will be provided during the live stream. Then take it again after you sign up and take the free course at Chess Mood for openings. Links to the test and Chess Mood course will be provided during the live stream. View the stream at autumnleesnews.com live or autumnlee.online live. And join me for some live ranked games on chess.com following that. Okay, so let me share my screen here. And there we go. Hello, hello. The camera's very dim. It might just be like that. I don't know. In any case, I'll just turn it off. It's really dim right now. So we're going to do the Lichess Interactive mid-game study. So I am not going to read through everything, but what I will do is I will link to this here on my social media under the stream so that if you would like to read through it, you can. Sure. Here. This is the Interactive Lichess mid-game study that was created, let's see, by a user of Lichess. And this is the introduction here. Goes over the study. It says his name is Funny Animator Jim, I guess, here. Let's just take a look at, okay, so that's the first chapter. So this is going to be a Queen's Pawn game. Now we're going to click on the next chapter. So this is what he's doing for his mid game. He's going to develop his rooks here in his study for chapter 2. I'll read this part. This is a typical position. The opening is just finished, and we are at the middle game. As you can see, white has several possible moves. However, white's number one priority should be to develop all of the pieces. At the moment, white is playing without both rooks. And you can see here, after castling, white has his rook next to his king, and then the rook over here, the queenside rook is still in its original position in the back rank. So at the start of the middle game, you should make sure that your rooks are taking part in the action. Ideally, you want to place the rooks on the central open files. In this case, C and E. So the files are the corresponding files that go upward from the letters. So this is file A, file B, file C, and so on and so forth. Ranks are numbers. So this is your back rank is 1 for white. For black, it's going to be number 8. That's the back rank for black. So this is the middle game for this particular study. What this person is trying to do is develop white's rooks and showing ideally what both of those moves should look like. So while all that's in play, that's basically the rooks are still there. They're still in the same position. So this is what he says. Now, let's see what's happened in the game, which is clearly not what white should have done. A lot of weird moves have been played. It's the 25th move of the game, and the white rook is still on A1 doing nothing right there. It should have moved here to block this from happening, or potentially, I would even suggest moving to D1 to protect the queen here. So if we go to the next chapter, and this is from the perspective of black. This is play in the center. And these could be different games. So like I said, I'm not going to go through this all at once. I just want to kind of show you this study. There are 6 chapters, actually no, 9 chapters in this particular study about middle games.
And I'll probably refer to this a few times. We'll go through the first three since there's 9 chapters, and maybe go through more a little bit later. But right now, for chapter 3 of this study, it says play in the center. If you have great control of the central squares, you dominate the position, and any attack you make on any area of the board will be successful. The idea is you want to influence and or occupy the 4 central squares, as well as the flank squares around them. You check which of the pieces are not taking part in the center, like black's queen, and see how you can improve this piece to take control of the center. And so with this move here to C8, black's queen is directly threatening E6 and the development of this pawn. It's also kind of putting pressure on this file, on this entire E file, and there are 2 major pieces here that could potentially, one of which is limited to movement along this file, or of course this file, but could potentially choose to move here. It's also putting a direct, like I said, direct pressure on that pawn, but limiting the movement of, further limiting the movement of potentially this knight. I mean, it could be threatening all 3 of these pieces. It's directly threatening this piece right here, though, by being on this file. Anytime you have a queen on for black on the E file, for white on the C file, it's usually a better position, at least from my limited knowledge. So the black queen is coming to E6, where it will exert influence on the E4 and C4 squares. At this point, white should be playing in the center with a move like E3, E4. However, white overlooked this plan and instead moved their rook. So you can continue here to watch this in play, and I'll just go ahead and play it out. You can see the arrows here might be a little confusing to somebody who's not familiar with Lichess, but if you played around with Lichess, you know that the arrows are giving you an indicator of what the best move could potentially be. So in this study, I'm just going to quickly go through this area here. Black certainly played QE6, and now Black has very good control of the center, which you can see clearly here. Black has white in a very defensive position. The knight controls the E4 square, and black will dream of occupying it in the future. Both bishops are influencing the center. The rook is occupying a strong square, and the queen is exerting a lot of pressure. Now, the only other piece black needs to invoke is the H8 rook. And that's the rook here on square H8. If you know notation, you're looking at that rook right now. So I'm just playing through to see when that rook goes into play, if that ever happens. It doesn't look like it has yet, and we're getting close. Oh, there it goes. Okay, so at the very end of chapter 3. And now black is just dominating completely. Black owns the whole board because of his strong central influence and occupation. And since this is 9 chapters, and there's only 2 mid-game classes, let's just go through 4 and 5, and then I'll go through the rest tomorrow. So the next chapter on this study here looks like it starts at a brand new game. So chapter 4, the center and the development. I'm playing the Catalan opening. I enjoy playing Catalan because it gives white good middle game play and in-game chances. And it can be as positional or tactical as you want it to be. You should always be comfortable with the openings you play. And then stick with that opening. Don't just play 2 or 3 games with the opening and then change it. Instead, you should stick with the opening you're comfortable playing and then play many games with it. This way, you'll get to know the patterns of the opening very well and have lots of good experience that will give you great chances of getting a favorable position in the opening stage. That's great advice. And I'm actually going to screenshot this and add that underneath. It's in chapter 4 of this study. I'm going to add that as a reply to the study here so it doesn't get too confusing. And this is on my social media at x.com. And this is in chapter 4 of the study. We're going to do up through chapter 5 on stream. Because the middle game, I mean, once you've learned some of the openings, the middle game is pretty much, that's the game. So it can go a lot of different ways. So we're going to watch this opening. Okay, so my internet's having a couple of snafus, but I skipped through that brand new game that this person is starting on chapter 4 of the Lee Chess study that we're going through, the interactive leechess.org study. And this is the middle game. So to identify the middle game, um, remember it's after your king is safe and castled, after the first few moves of the opening, once you have most of the pieces developed, most of the major pieces developed off of the back ranks, if a pawn has crossed over the center. So a lot of those things have happened. So you can see that we're starting to get from the opening, transition from the opening into the middle game here at move 6. So this is officially like the mid game. By move 8, you're in the mid game. By move 8, black is castled, white is castled. You have white's bishop crossed over into black's side of the board. Most of the pawns most of the pieces on black's back rank have been developed. Most of the pieces on white's back rank have been developed, and the center is you're seeing more attacking going on in the center. So this is the mid game. In this game, I overlooked the powerful center white gets with e2, e4. After going over this game, I've taken notes of this idea, and I will implement it in my game next time. It is possible for me to do. So we're on move 8 of this game. We're going to continue forward here. Okay, sorry for the hiccups. Periodic internet hiccups, but I'm trying to go as slow as possible, but also keep in mind the time. I've got to get my rooks into this game. In Catalan opening, the best squares for the rooks are usually C and D. I get my rooks into the game way sooner than my opponent does, and it wins the game for me. So this person likes to play with their rooks, which I would recommend definitely playing with your rooks. If you're good playing with your rooks, you don't even need a queen. 2 rooks can win a game. So if you lose your queen, as long as you have both of your rooks, you're good. That's how I see it. But I mean, lots of people see it differently. It just depends on your play style. I now change the plan. I'm going to play in the center. When in doubt or otherwise, play in the center. The center of the board is the most important part of the board. That's where the most power is. I'm going to place my rooks on D and E. So right now, white has the rooks on the A file and the E file. And now they're saying they're going to place their rooks on D and E. So D would be protecting the queen, and E is already on E. So you must mean moving the rook that's on A1 to D1, which would be protecting that queen. So let's see if that's what happens. That's exactly what happened. And now look at all of what white controls here in the center is indicated by the green arrows. And so we're in the 18th move of the game, and my entire army is developed. Half of his army is undeveloped. Half of Black's army is undeveloped. This is what you must do when playing chess. Develop your entire army towards the center. Always towards the center. Chess is a team effort. This is another good note that I'm going to reach on. I'm going to highlight that too. Develop towards the center. Develop your entire army. There we go. Develop your entire army. Highlighted that in green. Your entire army towards the center. For that red. And I'll take another screenshot as well. So there's that. And we take a screenshot of that. Just for reference. Okay. Oh, great. So moving on, I added some screenshots on my social media if you want to kind of see where I am. It's on chapter 4, the center and development. And like I said, I'm just going to go through chapter 4 to chapter 5, maybe halfway through chapter 5, and then we'll finish the rest tomorrow since these next two classes are on the mid game. So anyway, continuing on. I want to pause right here. I chose to take the bishop as to fix my pawn structure, that it appears move 23 fx e5 was better, capturing towards the center. But that's not what happens. The end game. So I'm just going to fly through here. But you can influence the end game. So this isn't lost for black, but he resigns. That was a very nice game, but that illustrated some of the most important rules in chess. Develop your pieces and play in the center. So that was the major theme behind chapter 4, the center and development. So the next chapter, chapter 5, and we're just going to go like halfway through this, and then we're going to move on. Is just keep the tension. So this game is from the perspective of the black player, and this is where it's clearly in the middle game. Both kings have castled and are protected. Most all of the major pieces have been developed from their back ranks and are working towards the center, attacking the center. And besides playing in the center, there's also another important rule: keep the tension. In fact, I've made a more detailed study on this rule, which you can find here. We'll go over that later. The idea is that white should not release the tension and play bishop takes f5. So they're saying not to do that. As a general rule, you should maintain the tension and avoid the exchange. I would agree with that because it prolongs the game, but it's also a goal of chess to take as much as you can. Excuse me. Instead of taking, white protects the bishop. Now black has to make a decision. Should black take bishop d3? Of course not, because of our rule, keep the tension. If black does take bishop d3, then of course the exchange will occur between the queen and the black's bishop. The white queen and the black bishop. That would be the obvious exchange. But according to the study, no, you want to keep the tension, which is good because it prolongs the game. So if black responds this way, instead of taking, let's see, instead black occupied the center directly. This is correct based on our previous chapters, which go over central play. White shouldn't take with bishop e4 or knight e4. You can see what happens on the sideline. So if white was to take with bishop e4, then of course you have the black response with the pawn here or with the knight here. More than likely the pawn, because that would be the best move, because then you don't have to move your knight. It can still continue to protect your king and your rook and your queen. So that knight being right there on f6, it should stay there. It guards so many different squares. It guards h7 from attack on your king and your castle. It guards your king directly. It guards your rook and it guards your queen in this position. So that knight should stay there. What would likely happen if white took this bishop that is sitting on e4 is black would take with d5, the pawn on d5. Or if white decided that they wanted to take the bishop with the knight here, then you can just pawn. So that's not a good move. That's why black has to release the tension here. When it comes to the tension rule, of course, I'm not saying you should never release the tension in exchange. If you are forced to exchange or you can win opponent's material, then of course go ahead and take. And not only did black win some material, but black is threatening white's queen directly and white's knight. But of course, that's what's going to happen. But if you just continue on here, you see different ways that black can continue to put pressure on white in the middle game. And I think this is where we're going to stop is at move, let's see. This is move 3. This is knight a5. So black is on a5. A knight on the rim is dim, so I'm going to remember that. We'll pick up here tomorrow on Keep the Tension. But for now, I want to move on to this test, the opening principles quiz. And I'm going to link to this under the stream on my social media so that you can take this test if you haven't yet. There. It's your chess midterm test. So, okay, so I'm posting the test there. It's actually just a quiz. It's the opening principles quiz. But this quiz itself, it goes along with a class. It also provides you with hints. Basically, what it's looking for is the best move. And there are 28 questions. If you click on hints, once you click the hints, the position will go to bug zone, a place where your mistakes live until fixed. So, but yeah, it'll show you a hint. So yes. So that is what it wants you to move. It's telling you that that is the correct move, the opening principles. And that was the wrong move. But that's basically what it looks like. It's the opening principles quiz. So if you feel comfortable taking it now with what you've learned already in my chess course, you can. Or if you would like to, I would recommend taking this first. This is the actual class that goes along with it. You can find this at Chess Mood. This is simplified Chess Mood openings for 800 to 2000 level, which if you've been following and learning the openings that I've been teaching you, you should be at least at an 800 on Lichess anyway. But let's see. You get this if you're practicing on Lichess. But that particular test is attached to this class. I have confidence that you should be able to pass that quiz without taking this class, but I would still recommend that you take this class that I'm attaching because that one is actually taught by Grandmaster. I'm not a Grandmaster. But yeah, you can learn all of these different openings, much more about defenses, uh, lots that I didn't get to in the first four courses. So I linked to that on my social media, and it goes into defenses, gambits, all kinds of different things. This is taught by a grandmaster, and these are free. 500 plus hours of grandmaster crafted courses, from tactics to middle game strategies, from openings to endgame. I am recommending right now simplified chess mood openings. If you've been listening and watching my streams and podcasts, I would recommend those. So I linked to those. And let's see, next was your homework, which if you go to autumnleesnews.com or autumnlee.online and click on the live page and scroll down to the chess subheading, you'll notice that there's a new book there and you have homework in it. The new book is The Middle Game in Chess by Borofsky. Your homework is to read Chapter 2, Maneuvers, which you can find by typing in 203 in this little box right here. I'm going to take a screenshot of that and so you know what your homework is, just to read Chapter 2. Okay, so I'm adding that onto my social media. So that's your homework. So just to read the chapter. That's pretty much it. And then we'll go over that on Thursday. So it's only about 5 pages. And now what we're going to do is go to chess.com and I'm going to play one ranked game. I think I may have lost sound, which is fine. Not a big deal. I'm just going to play like maybe one or two ranked games. So as a reminder, I've played one game, one ranked game since the last time I played on here to get my ranking. So this is my profile, Autumn Lee's News. So I have a 462 ranking now, which isn't that great. And I've been higher, but I'm going to try, let's see, play online, play versus a person of similar skill. Try to get a ranked game and improve my score. Am I seriously about to get checkmated? I might be. Jesus Christ, these people are so aggressive. Um, you can't even get openings in. It's also been a long time though. I totally just blundered my queen. I'm gonna resign. I'm gonna do another one. Yikes. Well, I'm at 420 though, so that's kind of cool. This sucks. If you do that one more time, I win. You can literally checkmate me right now. He can checkmate me. Do you guys see how he can checkmate me? He totally didn't even checkmate me. You could checkmate me like so many times. It's crazy. See? Oh my God, this is stupid. Anyway, do 10 minutes. One more. I'm being a poor sport. I'm playing so badly right now. Uh, I have to move this. I need to work on my middle game tactics. Let's see where this goes. But I think I might lose this game. Um, yeah, I think I'm gonna lose this game. I'm gonna resign. That would have been checkmate, but since I didn't get it, I'm just gonna resign. Better luck next time. Actually, let me go to the game review and see what it says. I like how the game review points out your mistakes. It's a great way to learn where you blundered. Like right here, it says I've just allowed my bishop to be taken without a fight. Like I messed up completely. I was thinking of putting an outpost, which is another tactic, but I need to refresh my memory on mid-game tactics clearly for the next one. So that's what I could have done. Ah, right there. I really did. I could have gotten a checkmate if he wouldn't have moved his knight there. There probably would have been a better move. Yeah, right there. All right. So I think that pretty much does it for the game review. So while I didn't have a great night tonight, I will keep trying and I need to refresh my middle game tactics. So I'm going to be doing my homework right along with you. Um, ouch. So remember tonight's homework through Thursday, up until next Thursday's class, is to read chapter 2, maneuvers. I'm going to be doing it right along with you. You type 203 into that little box, go to autumnleesnews.com, click on the live page, go down to the chess subheadings. It is the middle game in chess. The middle game in chess. Type 203. That'll take you to chapter 2. That is tonight's homework, maneuvers. If you'd like to go over more openings and take the opening principles quiz, feel free to do that. I would recommend the simplified chess mood openings for 800 to 2000 level to learn those openings. And don't forget, I have linked to this on my social media at Autumn Lee's News 2 on x.com. This is the Lee Chess study. We are on the middle of chapter 5. That's going to help you go over mid-game tactics. There are several studies at Lee Chess. You can also go under the leechess.org Learn tab. If you click on the Learn tab, that's going to take you to the chess pieces, fundamentals, intermediate, advanced, and lots of different videos that you can find about chess mid-game. You can also find different, let's see, studies. If you want to click on study and you want to find a different study about mid-game, you can type in mid-game, hit enter, and that will bring up a lot of different studies about mid-games that you can look at and learn the mid-game. But again, your homework until Thursday is chapter 2 of the middle game in chess. And thank you for joining me. I hope you have a wonderful evening.